In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to actually make the patterns. Now the first thing we need to do is open the swatches panel. I'm going to go to Window, Swatches, and just drag that somewhere in the center of the screen. We're going to be using a range of shortcuts in this section. They're highlighted here, so let's just zoom in a little bit and spacebar, move to the side a little bit. We need to use Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and Alt and drag at the same time to duplicate. It's basically a shortcut for the shortcuts. Let's use those shortcuts to copy some of these symbols. The symbols that I want to work with for this particular pattern, I think I've been looking at these two here. So I'm going to select them using the Shift key, holding it down. That lets me select multiple shapes or deselect at the same time. I only want these shapes. Now I could Control-C, Control-V to paste them, and it will paste them in the center of my screen. Or with them both selected, I can press and hold the Alt key and drag. I'm going to drag them over here. That's made a duplicate of the two shapes. Now that I've got my two shapes, I'm going to be working in this area over here, but before I start I just want to have a look at this pattern that I already created. One of the things you'll notice is that there are two lines down here. Now although this pattern looks like it has a black background, it doesn't. If I zoom in, you can see that you can actually still make out the black cut line and the black fold line on the dark background. It's very important that you don't use black as a background colour for your patterns, because you wouldn't be able to see your cut lines and fold lines. So when you print it, you wouldn't be able to see where to cut and fold. So you can use any colour in the background except black. I'm going to use the blue square to lay out my shapes to begin with. I'm going to use the green square as a place to apply my my pattern. So these are the shapes that I would like to use, and I'd like to have blue that I mixed in Adobe Cooler. I'd like to have see what that looks like. Yeah, on that dark background. Again, it's not black, it's just a dark brown that I mixed in Cooler. And this one I want a vibrant pink. There we go. I really like those colours, and I think I can make something from that. I'm just going to select these shapes. So I've selected the square for the background, the little castle or pagoda, and the balloon or Chinese lantern. I now need to go to Object, Pattern, and Make. If this pops up, just click OK. And the screen is now changed. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. We're in the pattern generator. So we've left our main screen. I'm going to use my black arrow tool, and I'm just going to move this lantern round, and you can see how it affects the pattern. So this is the tile that we are creating in the blue box, but outside it's showing you what would happen if they repeated this tile over and over again. Now you will have also noticed that this panel has popped up. However, you don't need to worry about it at all. In fact, you can just stick it to the side. Later on, once you've tried a few patterns, you might want to experiment with it, but not now. One thing to note is if I put something at the top, it will not tile. Can you see how it cuts it off? However, if I put something at the bottom, it will tile it at the top. Same with the right and left. On the left, it won't tile. On the right, it will. Okay, well I'm going to play around with this and try and make some sort of pattern. First of all, I'm going to move this kind of here. I might scale it a little bit with the Shift key. Move this one to the corner, right in the corner, and I'm going to duplicate it with the Alt key. Okay, so you can see that's making the pattern a bit more complex. Duplicate another one of these, shrink it down a little bit, pop it there, and finally I think I'll pop one more down here. I'm getting close to something that I like. I'm just going to use the arrow keys to move this lantern. I'm just looking to try and fill this area here, so you can see as it moves I'm looking around to see how the pattern forms. Okay, I really like this. The only thing I might do is just scale this down a little bit. I'm pressing Shift and Alt rather than just Shift. That means that it scales it from the middle. Just move that a little bit. There we go. I'm really pleased with that. I like it. One of the things I'm going to do though is for these two lanterns here, I'm just going to change to perhaps a softer pink. Maybe something like that, just so I get that difference. Okay, once you're happy with your pattern, up here it says done. So I'm going to click done and it will leave the pattern generator. Now at the moment, nothing on screen's changed. However, if you look to your swatches, you have a new swatch and that is the pattern we've just created. I'm now going to select this green square, and if you look onto the swatches, the fill preview shows that I've selected the green, and very important, the fill is at the front. If I have the stroke at the front, then it will apply the pattern to the outline. So make sure the fill is at the front. Once the fill is at the front, select your pattern. And that's how my pattern looks. Now you can go ahead and create as many patterns as you want. Remember, design them in the blue square area and apply them to the green square area. That way we can see which symbols were used to create each pattern.